Hello, amigos in Mexico. Hello, amigos in Vancouver. Hello, amigos in every other state or country of the world. I'm glad to join here talking about my experience in the video game industry. My name is Victor del Castillo. And thank you so much, Amy, for hosting all this. This is incredible, and please support Iterate UX to keep us going. All right, so who is Victor, right? My name is Victor del Castillo. I am living in Vancouver. I'm from Mexico City. I'm living in Vancouver since 2012. I came to study video game design at Vancouver Film School, where I'm graduated from and where I was a teacher and an instructor too. I am a single dad. I'm 49 years old. I have two beautiful daughters that are right now watching TV and playing Roblox over there. I hope they don't interrupt, and if they interrupt, please be patient with me. So yeah, basically, this is my background. I'm an instructor, mentor, guest speaker, and at Iterate UX, ABM College, Tamwood College, VFS, Cornerstone, etc., etc., etc. I started my career on teaching a while ago in 2000, probably 1999. It's been a while. I was a senior artist at Lost Boys Interactive / Gearbox Software for WWE 2K24. I was a senior UX UI designer at Bronze Studios for Fable's game. Senior artist at Relic Entertainment, Sega for Company of Heroes 3. Senior designer at Pop Rich Corporation for Payday Crime Wars, the mobile game. Senior UI designer at Blue Bat Games for some casino games, including Seminole Casino and Hard Rock Casino as well. UX UI designer at Piranha Games for MechWarrior 5, and UX designer at Playgon, Electronic Arts, Social Bee, Electronic Apple, etc., etc., etc. Small studios, big companies, small companies, medium companies. It's great to be with working with so much talented people all over my career. My background, like I said, I'm from Mexico City. I'm from Mexico. I studied in Edimba, which is the Fine Arts School of Design in Mexico City, from Bellas Artes, which I see a lot of people. Jorge, he's a student there, or he was a student there as well. I have 12 years working in the games industry. I have 15 years working in the advertising, multimedia, and graphic design industry for several agencies, for several companies, for several studios, small, big, and medium studios. I have shipped 12 games titles, and I worked on 15. I would say I'm learning because I'm teaching, but by teaching, I'm learning a lot and mentoring since 1999. And I am a Vancouver Film School graduate, which, like I said, I am an instructor. I was an instructor. That's a little bit of my background. These are a little bit of the games that that I worked, and I have the luck to be able to collaborate with so much talented people with this. This is not a one-person job. This is basically a lot of people involved, 300, 400 people in one team, sometimes less, sometimes more, but it's really beautiful to work with so much talented people. 2K24, Company of Heroes, Payday, Crime Wars, Sundown, Boogie Frights, MechWarrior Online, MechWarrior Mercenaries, and some casino games over here. I have the luck to be working for these companies and for these brands ever since I was graduated from Edimba, and well, I'm gonna show you a little bit of our work, a little bit of the work that I did. This is the trailer for this is the official trailer for WWE 2K24. So please let me know if you can hear my audio. If not, you know what? I'm going to stop sharing very quick and start sharing again because I think I need to start sharing with my sound. All right, here we go. Thank you, guys. All right, so this is WWE 2K24, one of the titles that I was very lucky to work on with very, very talented people. It was around like probably 400 to 500 people team, split it in several teams for several features. I was working just for one feature that is called the My GM, which is my general manager. If you guys can play it, that'll be fantastic, and let me know how your experience is. All right, so sorry about that. We're going to the second one, which is Company of Heroes 3 for Relic Entertainment Sega. And this is the trailer, the announced trailer for this RTS.
Nasconderti. Sei uno di quei fascisti che dà fastidio. Andiamo, Marina.
Let's move! Our tanks are coming!
Herr Weber?
Frau Russo, guten Morgen.
Sorry to keep you waiting for this time without you.
Das ist für Ihre Soldaten.
Ach, danke, das ist sehr nett von Ihnen.
Kein Problem. Einen schönen Tag noch.
Hey Jungs, schaut, was wir haben! Was ist das?
Forward to the church!
Let's go!
Watch for enemy fire! Cover! Get the radio! I'll cover you! Go!
Sergeant Summers, F Company, send in the planes, now!
Royals clear, Summers!
Sorry, keep it rolling, boys. Arms away.
This is the trailer for Company of Heroes 3, which I was working as a UX UI designer, mostly as a UI artist, and I was in charge of several parts of the game, not everything, because we were a big team for probably 200 people. And I was lucky enough to work with developers, with engineers, with animators, with really, really cool animators, which were able to make this this happen. All right. So I'm gonna go to the next one. And this is MechWarrior Mercenaries, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, which I was lead UI designer, lead UX UI designer for this. I would say this is one of my this is my third kid, because I was basically dedicating so much time and so much effort, blood, sweat, and tears for this beautiful game. And I am lucky enough to say that I was able to have the freedom to work on this from scratch. The art direction, the UX design, and the UI design for that, and some implementation for the game. It's a very, very complicated game, I would say, but I'm gonna go through that after the trailer.
Welcome to MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. We've taken a job where our objective is to destroy an enemy supply depot, and you've jumped into the middle of the action. There's our objective. Luckily, we don't need to waste any ammo in order to destroy it. Our mech has sustained a considerable amount of damage. However, our last contract earned us enough salvage points to claim the Atlas, a bigger, more powerful mech. From your Leopard dropship, you'll spend time rigging up your mechs, taking on missions, and traveling to other systems. The Shadowhawk won't be adequate for our next mission, but we now have other options. Our last outing was a success, so let's spend some time with our new Atlas and see how we can improve it. Fortunately, we salvaged a level 5 burst fire ballistic weapon from a downed enemy on our last contract, which we can now equip. The Atlas has gone through some rough treatment. Repairs will be needed before taking it out. While our mech is in the shop, let's make it stand out. We can apply a custom paint job by modifying the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors any way we want. But today, we'll pick one of the paint presets that'll make it shine. Let's go see Rihanna to see if she's got a new contract for us. The star map is where you'll have access to the numerous missions in MechWarrior 5. The areas outlined in red are conflict zones, where the factions wage war. It is here that the most lucrative and dangerous contracts can be found. These networks identify industrial hubs, where you'll hire pilots, purchase new mechs, and undertake the largest repair jobs. A new mission is going to take us to the planet Xinjiang, far enough away that our Atlas will be primed and ready by the time we arrive. Our mission objective is to take out an enemy aerodrome, then raise their fortress to the ground. In MechWarrior 5, you'll fight helicopters and tanks, but the real threat are other mechs. You'll have a diverse arsenal at your disposal, including missiles, ballistics, and energy weapons. Now that that's taken care of, we can head toward the fortress and tear it down. MechWarrior 5 features huge destructible environments. Use it to your advantage. Clear dense areas to get a line of sight, flank, and outmaneuver your enemies, and blast your path through the battlefield. That's just a little glimpse of the kind of action you'll experience in MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me just deal with the video a little bit here and then go to the next slideshow. So that's a little bit of my work, our work, I would say. Like I said, I was very lucky to collaborate with other video game developers and other video game publishers in my career. But the main reason why I'm here is to explain a little bit about why is UX and what is UX and what is UI design essentially, and how to make it in the video game industry. So the first question I would say is, why is UX UI a thing? Why is it so trendy? Why is it like everywhere? It used to be, for example, website design before. It was a trendy word that we will say, oh, you're a web designer, oh, you're a graphic designer, or you're a visual designer. Now it's UX. Now UX is the boom of basically everything. Everything is UX, everything is UI. So what is UX? UI, why is UX UI a thing? What is UX design, essentially? What is UI design? What are the differences between it? And how do I do them really well? So that's the questions that we will land over here. So essentially, from my point of view, UX design is ultimately the strategy behind an interface, and user interface is the execution of that strategy. Meaning that for having a user interface, you have to have a strategy before, a planning before, a research before, a thinking before, which is the strategy to make sure that everything will be looking well, will be looking tidy, and will be looking clean. I hope that makes sense. So UX design or user experience as a strategy, and user interface or UI as an execution. Being said, UI is not the same as UX, right? It might look awesome for some, but it might not serve well to the user. Same in this case. It looks awesome. It looks fantastic. It looks cute. But how the hell you're going to be drinking water or coffee from there, right? That's why we need to use strategy. We need to use research. We need to use basic understanding and basic empathy in order to be able to give the users what they need, not what we need as artists or as designers. I hope that makes sense. Same as here. This tomato ketchup jar on the left is beautiful, looks beautiful, but it doesn't work at all, because you have to put a knife in to get the ketchup out, to smear it on whatever you want to eat, etc., 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 instead of giving the user or the player or the people the advantage of having ketchup easier and smear it on whatever they want. This happens every day, right? And this is real. How many times we have seen this in our own places, in our own houses? You can search anywhere in your house, why is this not working, but still I use it? right? Something like this. Things that doesn't make any sense at all, but they are outside in the world and we can see them daily. And the worst of the part is that we still use it. This is beautiful. And I still don't understand why it is existing. You don't know exactly what is a sticker. You don't know exactly what is exactly the button that you have to press. You know exactly where you are or how you've been and like anything. So I love elevators because it's a different experience every day. This beautiful thing made by Apple, right? And this still happening. People still uses it. People still have it. Sorry, Apple. But essentially, this is what happens when bad design happens, right? So essentially, we are here as UX designers, as UI designers, to not fulfill our needs, but to fulfill and to be empathetic to the people, to make them understand and to make them comprehend the product itself. It doesn't matter if it's a car, it doesn't matter if it's a blender, it doesn't matter if it's a water bottle, it doesn't matter if it's a game, if it's an app, it doesn't matter if it's a website. We are here to design a better experience for them. Make sense? I would say to consider for those who are outside wanting to be better at what they do. I would say that you have to get a sketchbook or a notebook where you can write all your ideas, where you can sketch all your ideas. It doesn't matter if it's a digital sketchbook or your phone itself or whatever, but I use every single day, I use my sketchbook to get some ideas done, to get some stuff done, and to be able to land my ideas. If I don't land my ideas before on a sketchbook, even if it's a whatever paper, even if it's a napkin, sometimes it's better to visualize that instead of going to the computer and start, going crazy with filters and with plugins and whatever you have on Figma or whatever you have on Photoshop, whatever you have on Illustrator. It's like, hey, there's Affinity Designer and there's Figma Designer and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, but what can you do by yourself before? I hope that makes sense. This is only to consider. And also to start a personal reference library, either if it's Pinterest or either if it's your own personal, files or favorites or anything like that you want, bookmarks if you like, etc., etc. I hope this is making sense. So what is our strategy and execution building, right? We already heard about UX and the difference between UX and everything else. So I heard this quote way back in 2012 or 13 when I was graduated and I was going to electronic arts. I saw a big banner that was saying think players first. I was like, okay, think players first, whatever, right? They do games, they are amazing. They make FIFA, they make NHL, Need for Speed, Plant vs. Zombies, Battlefront, blah, 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 you name it. But what's in it for a big, huge company like EA? And then now that I'm a UX designer and I can think about it, this makes total sense because it's think your players first. Let them decide, let them test, let them realize that your product is well and it's comprehensive and it's serving them. It's not serving your art director. It's not serving your president. It's not serving the boss. It's not serving anyone, not even the art director of the creative director. They are secondary here. They are here to guide, but they are not here to decide. So the 3 C's, in my opinion, of the UX, the UX components: comprehension, control, and compulsion. So, comprehension first is you get to understand any device, any website, any object, anything, you get to understand it first, comprehend it first, right? You go into Tesla, and then you start like, oh, okay, so the panel or the UI is over here on the in the middle of the dashboard. I have the controllers over here. I do have the emergency lights on the top, which usually emergency lights are in the middle of the dashboard. So I get to comprehend the product. Then, once the user, the player, the people understands the product, whatever it is, then you start to control it. Oh, I see. Okay, now that I understand how this game is played, how Mario works. Okay, I have to jump, I have to rescue the princess, I have to go through this journey to achieve something, then you have control. Then you're able to control not only the controllers, but you're able to control the product itself. You're able to know that this bottle is opening from here and you can drink it, but also it has another button that locks it out. So you're able to understand that this won't spill if you put it in your backpack. Now, once you comprehend the product, now you control the product, you feel compelled with the product. Okay, now I'm gonna play again Mario because I feel compelled, because I feel engaged, because I feel that I understand and I can control and I can pay for it. I can pay for a game, I can pay for a product, I can pay for a water bottle, I can pay for that product itself. So those 3 C's are very important in our journey. It doesn't matter if it's a refrigerator or a video game or a website or an app. You have to first comprehend it, control it, and then feel compelled. Play it again, recommend it, review it, buy it, or just simply return it if it doesn't serve you. Does that make sense? All right, so UX design defined. From my perspective, UX design is a strategic process, which we already know that it's a strategy. And what is a strategic process? Strategic process is basically identifying and understanding your users, your players, and their problems. You have to research, you have to understand your players, you have to, okay, this player needs this user needs this. Crafting the 3 C's, meaning the comprehension, the control, and the compulsion. You have to have the order, steps, and best practices. And based in design thinking, which is another trendy word, which we already know everything about it, or we already saw everything about it, and questions the assumptions and focus on the end user. So UX design is a strategic process that builds positive relationships. What is a positive relationship, guys? Here, relationships anywhere, everywhere, are built on communication and understanding. It doesn't matter if it's relationship with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your dog, your cat, your daughter, your stove, if you want. You have to build a positive relationship based on communication and understanding. You cannot have a positive relationship if you don't understand and communicate each other. Compulsion, which we already know what is compulsion, and fulfillment of participants or the users is paramount. It's very, very important that your users, your people, the person that you are talking to feels compelled about it. Stability for the future is necessary. What was I meaning with this? Stability of, okay, my game is going to be published in 2006, but my game is going to be played in 2024. What does that mean? Maybe I have to think ahead. If my game, excuse me, would be displayed in 4K, right? 4K monitors, or what's going to happen with the old Nintendo 64 games that are displayed right now on a 4K monitor or a 4K TV. It's going to look pixelated. It's going to look crappy. However, you have to think ahead if this is going to be stable for the future. If the future is going to be probably 2 years or 3 years or 5 years ahead, then you have to think about that responsiveness, that display, that quality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? All right. So UX design is a strategic process that builds positive relationships between players, users, crowd, people, and games, or apps, or websites, or product itself, whatever it is. You can put anything here, but it's the same. So a positive relationship between players and games drives the 3 C's: the comprehension, the control, and the compulsion. And based on the wants and needs of the players, it will be fulfilled. Empathy is critical. We as UX designers, as UI designers, as product designers, we need to be empathetic and walk in the shoes of the other users. That means we have to understand them. We have to use the product. How come you're a developer for MechWarrior 5, but you don't play MechWarrior 5? How come you are a developer for Tinder if you don't use Tinder? Even if you have a relationship, you have to use Tinder. You have to use the product. Business needs as a product, right? You have to understand the business needs, which is making money, is having downloads, is basically everything that is involved with the strategy and the marketing of the product itself. Doesn't matter what product. All right. So effective UX design, from my perspective, when UX design is done right, it will derive and be based on understanding of your players or your users. So you have to understand your users. You have to listen to them, right? What happens with, I don't know, Overwatch? Overwatch from a very, very well-known developer, it's not giving anything to the users, and it's getting a lot of complaints from users because of their customer service as well. So basically, it's an awesome game. It's a beautiful game. It looks fantastic. And blah 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 blah, but it's not understanding your players. It's not hearing them. Players are screaming for something else. Players are screaming for changes or for better user experience or for better customer services, and they don't give a damn. Provide solutions to the problems they will face based on that understanding. So, okay, I understand you're complaining and you're ranting about we don't have a good customer service. Therefore, I'm going to make a change on this. Or I'm going to make it, for example, I'm going to make it a little bit more easy here. There was a lot of complaints about the UI and about the UX on MechWarrior 5, and there were forums, and there were basically a lot of people complaining about, a simple icon that won't be understandable. Okay, so we need to understand our players, we need to hear them, and we need to give them the change. Once you give them the change, they say, okay, they thought about it. Thank you so very much. I feel compelled with this product. And help drive the business goals of the game, right? Without going too complicated in the money or marketing or anything like that, you have to drive the business goals of the game. Hope that makes sense. So, excuse me, UX helps you understand your players so you can design the most effective solutions. That is UX. UX is not, it looks beautiful, it plays fantastic, blah, 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 blah. It's understanding your players or your users so you can design the most effective solutions based on that. That's why design thinking requires research, testing, prototyping, etc., 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 etc. That's why you have to test your product before going into the market. With this Totoro cup that we were seeing, do you think there was like any design thinking over that? For sure not. It was just looking cute, and I just like make 100 of them, and then I will sell it, and I will just like punch everyone's eyes. So, how many times this happens? Don't tell me that you haven't seen this or haven't done this before. So that is frustration, that is anger, that is emotions, meaning that video games or product itself can cause and can create emotions. And these emotions, therefore, will be this. If it's positive, it will be great. If it's negative, it will be this. So UX, again, design helps identify and solve the player's pain points so that they do not have to face them. All right. So we need to give the users, we need to lead them by the hand and solve their problems. Okay, what's not working? What are you complaining about? What is happening? How can I serve you? Right? This is our job as UX designers. So from now on, you're going to see this, right? Probably you're going to go outside here and you're like, oh my God, what's going on here with this UX design? Bad UX, good UX, whatever. So is there any question before we go into a case study that I want to show you? Kim, do you want to ask any question to the crowd?
I don't have any questions so far, but I just wanted to thank you for sharing so far everything, all of your work. This has been great. Thank you. Yeah, but if anyone has any questions, please ask them in our chat.
Right on. Okay, cool. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a case study that I have for MechWarrior. MechWarrior is a tabletop game, but basically before that it's a universe that it's like Star Wars universe or Battlestar Galactica, which is created in, I think it was 1984. It was created by Catalyst Games. And basically, they were based on a universe of books, and they design a game based on these stories. So they designed this beautiful game, which is BattleTech, which was basically this. You have to play with a paper doll here, or the damaged doll, with figurines, kind of like 2 inches tall. You can paint them. You can actually redesign them or design them, and you can play with them. But basically, this is a hexagonal game that is basically it's by turns. You have to damage other people or your opponent's mech or robot by making damage to this damaged doll, which is basically you can actually create damage on every component that they have. So these are the mechs. These are the big stumpy robots. It's like 12 feet tall, probably, in this universe. So this is the beautiful work of Alejandro Iglesias. I think he's a concept artist, which I have the luck to work with. He's from Cuba. And this is his work, and this is basically the concept art of the different robots and the different mechs. Essentially, there are like more than 200 mechs in the universe of MechWarrior or BattleTech. So I needed to study it when I first jumped in Piranha Games. It was really just give me 1 second.
Great questions in
Thank
the
you.
chat so far.
Some people here, some kids here playing with games very loud. So essentially, I needed to study a lot the universe, and I needed to study the cockpits, and I need to study the reality or the fiction of the robots itself and the cockpit and the design for that, in order to be able to redesign the whole HUD of the game. So I needed to understand the components. I needed to understand the basics of the components and the pilots. And sorry, here. This is a wireframe that I did with another peep of mine at MechWarrior at Piranha Games. And then basically we needed to recreate all the gameplay of the tabletop game and redesign it into the game itself, into another version of the game. There's a bunch of MechWarrior games. So this is a wireframe, and this is how it looks when it's the mockup. So essentially, the wireframe examples, as crappy as it looks, started here, right? Started in my sketchbook, and I needed to redesign or design the components of each of the dashboard or the cockpit of the panel of the mech. So essentially, this is a mech paper doll, the throttle bar, the jump jet bar, the minimap, the hit bar, the enemy paper doll. So all these components and the numbers were basically indicating where does those components work. So I did a little bit of design over here, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of researching, a little bit of mocking up and everything. It was very difficult for me to create mock-ups on Photoshop than that basically the people or the team was going to say, no, this doesn't work in 2 seconds. So I decided to work smart, not hard. And I decided to start, recreating all this in my sketchbook and show it to them and say, okay, this is the layout that you like. Okay, perfect, let's go on, right? So that said, I was working with them with a bunch of iterations of the cockpit, and then they decided to move around all the elements. Okay, what happens if the map goes on the top? What happens if the mech paper doll goes on the right? So it's like, okay, you know what? Let's make it easy, and let's make a mock-up or a paper prototype. So I decided to make this. As you can see, I was eating a soup, and the lid of the soup was my minimap. So basically, all this became this. Essentially, on the right, you can see the UX. On the left, you can see how it went with the UI once it's basically dressed up or implemented, or we said skinned, right? So this is a wireframe, this is a skinning. So I'm gonna make a little bit of comparison here of how the wireframes became this mockup. So this is basically in-game stuff. So essentially, you have to understand all the components. You have to understand all the requirements from the game designers and from the engineers and the developers in order to be able to give what they want to achieve. So there's a little comparison for this. This is another part, the battle mech storage. As you can see, there's some things that change. For example, in this case, the mech storage, instead of on the right, it was changed to the left for UX reasons or for feature reasons, etc., etc., etc. So this was a huge work, back and forth with and communication with developers, with engineers, with designers, with users as well, overall users, because we needed to do a lot of user research and a lot of user tests to see how they like the game, to see how they understand the game. So essentially, a bunch of comparisons here that I wanted to show you. So this is quite complicated because this was the mech lab for the game itself. This was part of the mech storage as well. A lot of work over here that you can see, and it ended up like this, right? Well, essentially, the guy that I show you with the soup lead, it was basically this. So you have the minimap over here, you have the front and the rear damage toll for the enemy, the front and the rear damage toll for yourself, the crosshairs, the throttle bar, the jump jet bar, the weapons that are selected, etc., 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 etc. So this was another version. We came in with this version in December 2012, I think so, 2011, something like that. No, sorry, 2017 actually. But anyways, this was one version. This was another version. This was one mock-up that I did, that I delivered to the team, and these are basically these are another thing that we went through, and essentially these are the components that I designed for them. This is how they should look, for example, for this part, which was my target, my visual target for that. But sometimes you have to adapt with limitations that unfortunately the engine or the engineers they cannot make. So you have to adapt to that. The functionality of the jump jet bars, how they will look when they're empty, when they're basically filled, and how they look when they are completely filled. The minimap, which eventually the idea was to make it with a stereoscopic view, and it ended up like this. This is how it looks right now. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the video of how this
Hello,
works.
MechWarriors, how is it going? Welcome to a mod review where I'm going to show you a nice HUD mod for MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. First of all, I'm going to show you how the mod looks and how it's set up, and later on I will show you how to get it and to install it. So I would say we're going to dive directly into it, and you can already see some hints between our screen here. Look at that. We got a representation of the HUD that was introduced in the very first trailer of MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Somebody sat down and actually recreated it, and that's looking so damn cool. So as you can see, we have different weapons here on our Atlas D, I think it is. On the right side of the screen, you can see we're running an ultra autocannon. And whenever we fire it, it's going on cooldown, and the color changes, and then there's this little cooldown bar that is going up again. Beautiful, beautiful representation. And as you can see, it is set on the right side because it's mounted in the right side torso. Next to it is the medium laser, which is mounted on the arm. So inner circle is torso, outer circle is arm mounts. Then we have something like a large laser in the bottom as well as a PPC. Don't get confused. I know that these weapons shouldn't be able to be put in.
Sorry, so this is very technical right now, and I'm not gonna go deep through this, but essentially what I wanted to show you is how you can customize your HUD, and you can change colors, and you can change basically, you can adjust, the colors from white to orange, and probably you can change it to several. Sorry, you can change it to several colors, and also because our users and our crowd and our basically the users, the
Hello,
players,
MechWarriors.
they were 2% or 3% of the players are colorblind. So being colorblind, you have to adapt all the colors, and that's called accessibility. And you have to be accessible, and you have to be able to show them and to let them basically complete their goals in order to be able to see the colors well. Because if not, they can't play, they can differentiate anything. So we need to hear and understand our users in order to be able to make a feature accessible enough for them to play. I hope that makes sense. And I'm not gonna show this one. So we're gonna open for questions here. I think there's a lot of questions over here on the chat. Kim, do you wanna take over this?
Sure. Thank you so much, Victor, for your presentation. This was really insightful. It'll actually be Anna, our moderator, who will be conducting our Q&A, so I'll let her take over.
Awesome, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor, for sharing all of the resources as well as the information. So the first question is from Jason. So when starting out a UX design portfolio, do you recommend redesigning a published game's UI?
Absolutely, yes, Jason. I would say I recommend very well to redesign something that you think that is not working well. Example, you don't like something on Overwatch, right? You don't like something on the HUD that is not serving you, that is not working. I would say first detect the problem, the UX problem, and then you can redesign the UX problem, and also you can implement user interface for that. I hope that makes sense.
And the second question is from Aja. What are your thoughts on a lot of the tech products nowadays need some sort of gamification to maintain retention, even our referral design is games, and how to make it healthy in long term?
Absolutely. I don't think any product will be unhealthy, to be honest, because all the products, like as much as they need redesigning and restructuring and researching and everything else, they could be like, as long as we can implement the 3 C's on that, I think it will be healthy. And thinking about the gamification is very important. We see a lot of products, even DoorDash, even Uber, even Duolingo, for mentioning only 3 right now. But basically, all of them, they are gamified. They have a leaderboard. You have 3 stars if you achieve something. You get a I don't know, cashback or whatever it is, or a promotion or code if you want. If you are basically ordering 3 meals in a week or in a month, right? You get 10% off. When you order a meal, they will show you basically the milestones that they were showing, or your pizza is in the oven, your order is in the oven. Now the driver is bringing it to you, and you see a cute map and you see a cute milestone on that. So everything is gamified, and I think everything should be gamified, because once you give gamification to anything, you got engaged. The user gets engaged. Does that make sense?
That's a great answer. Thank you, Victor. And we have another one from Vaija. How would you get to know who your end users are, the age range that they belong to, and their psychology? And what are some of the research methods to know these?
I was gonna say by design thinking, researching, you have to research, investigate, doing personas. If there's no real people around, then you have to recreate those people, those users. Example, how do I, or if I want to, I don't know, let's say if I want to achieve a new dating app, what is going to be my end user? Who is going to be my end user? You have to deal with a lot of genders and with a lot of things and with a lot of personalities, and you have to be able not to screw it up. So the only thing is to research about your market and to research about your end user. I hope that makes sense.
We have another one from Jason. How much consideration do you put into creating the standard game UI, but then giving the option to users to create custom UI? Do you fear that it could break the game experience?
A standard game, what are my consideration about the standard game and giving an option to create a custom UI? Okay, I'm going to put the example of MechWarrior here, and I hope this makes sense. We didn't think that the users of MechWarrior would be able or will be wanting to customize their UI or customize their, like I mentioned before, their HUD, right? To change colors or to change the elements and the weapon groups to the left instead of the right, or the map instead of the bottom to the left, right? We didn't consider that. However, it was a great idea from our customers, our players, our forums to say, hey guys, why don't you just like make this easier for us? Instead of implementing and putting on our faces the minimap specifically on the middle point where I cannot see other mechs, why can I just change it to the left if I want? So I would say it's very, very important to listen to your users in order to be able to do what they want and to feel compelled and achieve the 3 C's, right? Once they are compelled, once they are buying your game, let them customize it. It's as easy as it is. And it doesn't break the experience for sure. I think it enriches the experience, if that makes sense.
And here's one from Carlos. Congrats on your presentation, Victor. Awesome and inspiring. And what do you recommend to do any traditional quotation marks designer that wants to become UI UX expert? Where shall he or she start?
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you so much. That's a really good question. Where to start, and what do I recommend for any traditional designer? I would say if you're a traditional designer, you already have the basics of being a designer, right? You already have the basics of how to think, the how, why, and what's, right? I would say keep on going what you're doing. And how to start by walking in the shoes of other testers, or walking in the shoes of other users. For example, I was designing kind of like Mario Kart-ish style game for kids. I was testing, but I was like, I am too old for this, right? I cannot test a video game for kids. Therefore, I'm gonna give my phone and my video game to my kids, so my kids will test it. So the user is testing my product. In this case, my kids or my daughters were able to tell me, hey, Papa, I don't understand this. I don't understand. Why don't you put the wheel instead of in the middle of the screen? You can put it in the right side, or just use the accelerometer to be able to control the car. And therefore, sometimes by seeing your users testing your product, whatever it is, you will be able to understand. I hope that makes sense.
Here's one from Amy. In gaming UX, do you typically conduct the user research to inform personas yourself, or do you collaborate with UX researchers or market researchers to gain these insights that inform persona development?
That's a tough one, Amy. Thank you. All right. Well, I don't conduct myself a user research. I let it, like, so far I've been letting that to the company because the company is the one that pays for that. But I strictly recommend it. We need testers. We need A/B testing. We need focus groups. We need to let them know what we are searching or what we are wanting. However, this is a very, very good advice from my ex-boss at Piranha Games. He was saying, okay, if you want to be inspired on the other products UX, search on the big titles, research on big titles, because big titles has invested millions and tons of millions of dollars testing. It's not going to be like independent company like us. It's going to be EA, it's going to be Ubisoft, it's going to be Gearbox, it's going to be 2K, it's going to be the monsters. So if the monsters are researching, if the monsters are investing on research, then approach to the monsters and do or inspired by what they are doing. I hope that makes sense.
And here's one from Micah. I'm just curious, what design tools and software do you prefer to use or use on a daily and why?
Awesome. Yes, I love Illustrator. I love Photoshop. And I started with Figma. And I would say Figma is a very, very awesome tool that I've been just like trying to understand a lot of things about Figma. And it's blowing my mind, to be honest. But yeah, I would say the three monsters that I use is basically Figma, Illustrator, Photoshop, and this is the most powerful monster that you can do. Your sketchbook. You can have everything here, and it stays forever.
And AJ had a follow-up question. The majority of gamification in tech products seem like hamster wheel, and I, AJ, for personally get tired of such experiences. So can any way of gamification continually deliver value for a longer period of time without going in circle?
That's a tough question, AJ. I would say, and I would recommend and suggest to follow the monsters as well. Whoever is using, like a gamification feature, just follow them, like Uber, DoorDash, Duolingo. They are doing great, and they are not games. I'm learning Japanese right now through Duolingo, and it's fantastic. I get so engaged. I understand it very well. It's really cool how to do that. I hope that answers your question, AJ.
Here's another follow-up from YJ. Assuming the users won't be biased, could you please explain about the research methods to start from scratch?
Oof. I think it all depends, Vijay. It all depends what is what you want to implement, what is what you want to design, but the research method is always the same. The research method will be, that's why design thinking has a formula, right? And that's why design thinking is non-linear. So I would say just follow the old formula, and because that formula is very well thought. I hope that answers your question.
I think those are all of the questions I got from the chat, unless anybody else have more questions. But thank you, Victor, so much for answering and sharing the insights.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been such an insightful presentation. I'm really thankful that you were able to share all of your expertise with us today. Thank you, Anna, also for taking care of the Q&A session. As Victor has shared on the screen, that's the QR code that you can scan in order to connect with him. And yeah, I guess that will wrap up our event for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Sorry for the time. I think we are 15 minutes late. So I thank everyone that join us from Mexico, from other countries, from Canada, etc., etc., etc. From here, from Vancouver. I'm really grateful and thank you so much. I'm happy to share my stuff. This is only my everyday.
Thank you so much again, Victor. So for anyone here, if you're interested in joining our next events, again, we'll have one same time next Thursday, and we hope to see you here.